Hello there.
Evening.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a bit late here. Just running in the door. Sorry.
Same.
It's cold outside. Do you know that?
Yeah, it is.
Very cold.
Come on.
Dave, Phil, Marlena. Okay, we're ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. This meeting of the Reading Municipal Light
Recording in
Department
progress.
Board of Commissioners is being held remotely on Zoom and streamed live on RCTV and YouTube. The RMLD Board of Commissioners recognizes the importance of hearing public comment at the discretion of the chair on items of the official agenda. We ask that all questions or comments from the public be directed to the chair, and that all parties, including members of the RMLD board, act in a professional and courteous manner when addressing the board or responding to comments. Once recognized by the chair, all persons addressing the board shall state their name and address prior to speaking. It is the role of chair to maintain order in all public comment or ensuing discussion. Commissioner Pacino will be the board secretary. And could I ask all remote participants to please identify themselves?
John Stempak.
Commissioner Pacino.
Dave Talbot.
Marlena Beta.
Bob Coulter. All right. All right. Now to the portion of public comment. And if I could please hear from Mr. Vivek Soni.
Yeah, hi, Robert. Thanks. So actually, we have our meeting next week, but there's a comment I think I'd like to make. Every year, the CAB recommends budgetary items to the BOC. And I think this year what's happened is that, because of the high price spikes and significant delays in equipment costs, we are seeing significant cost, increases in the system. So one of the things that we've at least requested from the RMLD management is that the CAB be provided the budgeted plan estimate compared to what is the expected price, so that we are at least aware, because a lot of times when we are asked to recommend a bid to the BOC, we just are told the price and the numbers, but we really haven't been given the budgeted numbers. So I just think that it's always good to have a reference point. And so we are requesting that this be made a part of the process. And Colleen has said that this would be done. So I just wanted to make sure that we share that with you.
Thank you, Vivek. It's a good point, right? It's just it is a volatile world, but you do want to know what you're spending, correct?
Yeah, no, because especially the budgets are going up. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they go up. But I mean, budget doesn't go up, but the expenses go up.
Okay. Thank you, Vivek. The liaisons to the RMLD board, but I saw that this person from the select board could not make it tonight, unfortunately. So I don't see.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Sorry, this is Karen Herrick, and I had to dial in. I'm on the road, but I am here. Thanks for
Oh,
asking.
yeah. Oh, okay, Karen. I'm sorry. If you have any comment, please.
Sure. I wanted to wish congratulations to the commissioners who were reelected. I know you have a big job in front of you, figuring out who's going to be the next general manager. So it's good to have as much experience as possible. I did want to and we look forward to working with you, or I should say Fidel is more than willing to assist in that process, however you might need him to. And I am only speaking for myself this evening, but I wanted to let you know I've been getting questions from residents about the process. As we just went through an extensive public process to find a town manager, I think some of the Reading ratepayers are hoping that it's a very transparent and public process, allowing from some input as well. So that was just what I wanted to communicate this evening.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you, Bob.
And sorry, I didn't even see the number you snuck in.
Absolutely. I don't like to do these calls from the road, but here you go. Hopefully we'll see you in person soon.
Okay. And I did see that there was a public comment opened up, so on Zoom. So I'm not too sure.
That might be me. This is Pam Daskalakis.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. So Pam Daskalakis from 71 Lila Lane in Reading. Thanks so much for taking my comment, Mr. Chairman. And it actually follows along what Ms. Herrick just commented on, actually. So I think the role of the new general manager is going to be really important. The RMLD is a really important partner with the town. The recent town manager search committee included 2 residents as well as 2 select board members and 3 professional employees of the town. I understand that the agenda shows 2 board members and 1 CAB member will be appointed, but I would respectfully request that the board consider making 1 or 2 selection committee positions available for residents to apply to participate in.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm writing that down, so they'll come up in that debate. Well, thank you, Pam. Is there any other public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the second item in the agenda, the reorganization of the chair position. And I had fun. I have to say, it is fun. If you could say that the board is fun, right? But I enjoyed it, and I appreciate everybody's help and assistance. And this is a very, very experienced group, and couldn't have done it without everybody on this board and all the people at RMLD. So thank you very much. All right. Phil, if you could read the motion.
Well, do we have nominations?
Well, okay, do you want to,
You open the floor and have somebody should move a nomination first.
okay,
This is John Stempeck. I would like to nominate Phil Pacino for chairman.
okay. Bob Coulter, I'd like to nominate Marlena Beta for chair.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Okay,
So you need
so we
to,
have 2 nominees. Are there any more nominees? Okay, hearing none. At this point,
at this
I
point, you-
believe we would take a vote.
Do we second any of these? No. How does it go with seconding?
Okay.
I mean,
That's a good point. I'm not too sure.
I think
Phil?
last year they were seconded and then voted.
Yeah.
I would second Bob's nomination.
Okay.
Okay, is
No.
there a second for Phil? Oh, or do we, all those in favor for, I'm actually a little confused, right? So do we,
Okay. So
second and then vote on the
I'm
second.
not sure that there's a second this is not a motion. This is a nomination. And so I think what we do is just do a vote on the whole
Okay.
thing here, Bob. There's no second required.
Okay,
I think there is, but whatever. I think
Alright,
any
so-
motion requires a second.
well, it's a nomination, right? Not a motion.
Bob, why don't you just second me and then we'll just settle it at that,
Okay,
okay?
Yep.
Okay, and then you can just settle it and then you take the vote and the majority, whoever gets the majority will be the chair.
okay.
Okay.
I'll second, yep, I'll second Phil Pacino.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor of Phil for the new commissioner?
Mr. Stempak?
Mr. Pacino, aye?
Okay. Hearing 2 votes. All those in favor of Marlena Peter being the new commissioner? All those in
Marlene
favor?
Beta, aye.
Talbot, aye.
Mr.
Mr.
Coulter, aye.
Pacino, aye?
Okay, we see 4 yeses and 1 no, 1 abstinence. So Marlena, you are the new chair. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And I'll try my best and hope that the 4 of you and your many, many, many years of experience can help.
Okay. All right, now on to the second portion. Phil, if you could read the second motion?
Okay, well, Marlene is now in charge, so you're.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at
Marlene-
that.
Marlene is now
Right,
in
there we
charge.
go.
Unbelievable.
You're out.
You can sit back,
You're out.
Bob, sit back.
Jeez.
Okay, well, Phil, would you read the motion to nominate a vice chair?
I think somebody from the floor should nominate the vice chair.
I nominate,
I'd be willing to continue as the vice chair if that's what people want me to do. I mean, I'm more than happy to help Marlena going forward on that. Yeah.
thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to nominate Dave Talbot for vice chair.
And I will nominate Phil Pacino for vice chair.
Okay,
I'll second Phil.
okay. So we'll move to vote.
I'll second Dave just for procedure. Okay, make sure there's proper procedure. Okay.
Thank
And now you go to the vote, Marlena.
Okay, so all those in favor of Phil Pacino?
Mr.
Pacino, aye?
Stempak?
That's 3.
Mr. Coulter, aye.
Mr. Talbot, aye.
Okay, that's 4. And I'll vote for Phil too then. So that's 5-0 for Phil.
All right.
Okay. So do we still vote or we don't bother? Okay. That's the majority.
I'm going to consider that a solid vote for Phil. There's no need to have another vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much.
He's good.
And-
Phil's
and
good.
My role will be to assist Marlena as much as I can, and that'll be my role. Okay?
Thank you.
Phil is a master of the process. He knows what he's doing on the process side of things.
Next, it says on the agenda, a suggested motion to move to nominate and elect 2 names to a sub-audit committee to be effective after the vote is taken.
Right. Yeah, because there's, let me explain the audit committee is
Yeah.
basically not only the board sub-audit committee, but it's also the town of Reading. And the town of Reading is actually, as a matter of fact, I already acknowledged the fact that they're having an audit committee meeting. And usually the representative from the RMLD, which I've been in the past, so. And I'd be more than happy to continue on that role, where it's kind of my field, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, you could just, in the past, Marlene, it's just been appointed, the chair has appointed 2 people on this.
All right. And well, is there anyone else who would, I guess we have to read the motion and then have discussion, second it, and then have discussion about who might want to serve or if I'm to appoint anyone.
Well, who wants to be the second? I mean, that's the question.
Okay.
I second, if I need to second you on the audit committee, Phil, I do that.
Okay, so I will Maybe I'll move to nominate myself. This has been the one.
Okay,
Move to
just,
nominate and elect Phil Pacino and Dave Talbot as the new subcommittee, audit subcommittee members to be.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I
Oh.
just correct? I didn't mean to be appointing myself to the committee. I don't need to be on that committee. I meant to just be nominating you. I apologize.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I thought you volunteered.
Not my best role.
Can I make a quick comment?
yes.
So yeah, just for policy 19, the second member on that audit committee is just supposed to be a backup for some reason Phil couldn't perform his, duty on the committee, then that backup person would be there to take his place.
Oh.
But you don't really need to have two people, go to the meeting and everything like that. It's more just a backup in case.
Oh, all right. Okay, because it makes it look like it's two. All right. Well, would someone like to not volunteer to be the backup?
I'd like to nominate Bob Coulter for the backup.
Yeah. I second that nomination.
Okay, then we'll take a vote on that, I guess. All those in favor of Bob as the backup?
Ms. Pacino, aye?
Step back, aye.
Marlene Abita, aye.
Over.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the general manager evaluation and 2021 general manager and board goals. We don't have a motion for the, but I mean, is this where we discuss the latest packet that we received?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Chair, may I speak? At the last meeting, we went over all the goals. But we didn't talk about incentive or anything for 2021. So I think it's the packet that you received is all the goals that I went over at the last meeting, all the accomplishments of all of the employees, my specific goals. We went through that.
Okay, I thought that in the last meeting, we didn't entirely fully discuss all the goals, like the where we stand on the employee input. I know we had the presentation from the consultant.
Yes.
And I felt like we didn't have closure on where we stand on that, it hasn't gone out, I don't think, to the employees yet. And do we have a date of when it will?
Right. What we discussed last time is that the 2021 goal was to hire a consultant to do an employee survey to be conducted in early 2022. So we were able to find a consultant, work through the procurement process. We've got the questions to review. We're working with the consultant right now to finalize that in order to send it out. You guys can review it. There's standard questions that are in a Denison type format that she explained. And then there's custom ones that we're adding that have to do with adding sustainability questions. There's all different sections that have to do with electric utilities where we're adding questions. And then I have another meeting with them next Monday, and then we're hoping to send out the questions to the board. So when you get them, I guess we can have the next meeting to finalize the questions, see who has what, because I know the board wants to add more custom questions. Then it would go back to the consultants, and then we can, arrange for a date for the consultant to send it out to the employees. So that's kind of the process.
Okay, so it's in process.
Correct.
May I ask a quick question about that?
Sure.
At the last meeting, we asked that the draft survey instrument be sent around, but that hasn't happened yet.
No, that's what I just explained where we're at.
Right. I just wanted, I mean, it has to, for a survey to be conducted in early 2022, I mean, we're almost in May and we don't have a survey instrument to look at. So, but regardless of what we say about the other goals, this one isn't in a position for us to say whether it was met or not.
Well, I'm being evaluated for 2021. So hiring the consultant and getting it ready for a goal that may have been for 2022, as far as I'm concerned, was completed. And we're working on it. I mean, it's on schedule. for 2022.
All right, I thought we were gonna, I thought it just would have been distributed to the employees in early 2022. That was my understanding, but
Yeah. No.
no. Any other discussion from the board on goals? Either for the board or the GM?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought we are a little behind on the survey. I know we had a lot of things going on, but we are a little bit behind on that. I would have liked to have had that done in the year that I brought it up. So that one is behind.
I mean, we're not able to see the results of that to be part of this process that we're having right now.
But
I guess I'm confused. The goal,
well, the goal, I thought the goal was to have had the survey completed by now, right? I know we talked about delaying it because of union contract and, but one of our goals was to have had it done. I know it's one thing I wanted to do in when I was the commissioner, but that's.
okay, well, it's not that easy right now to hire consultants. They're all busy as it is. We queued ourselves in order to even have them work with us. It's very, very difficult right now to even hire consultants. It's not something that just happens, you know. You said we've been steadily working on this. Just getting through the procurement process took several months.
I think it's fair to say it's in process, but not completed.
Right. Well, it's still early 2022 and we're trying to get it done as soon as possible.
I think realistically, it'll probably be a couple more months before we get to see it, review it, provide feedback, and then give it to the employees. May or June. Is there any other, before we move on, any other discussion about item 4 on the agenda?
Just on a related note of things that we were hoping to see 2 months ago, we asked for a memo on another matter that is not for public session, but that hasn't come through. But it was of great importance. And
Well, Dave, I think there are a lot of things that are of great importance, like the general manager's review, which we've been derelict in doing for the last 3 or 4 years. It's always been extended well beyond when it was supposed to happen. I think acquisition of the land in Wilmington has been on the agenda every single time, and that's
true.
That's absolutely crucial to what we're trying to do. So I think
Agreed.
picking on this one as something to talk about as being delayed beyond expectations, I think is not correct.
Yeah, I think you're right. We have been waiting for the substation for, I think it was recommended 8 years ago. So you're quite right. That's been a long process. I'm not talking about the survey here. I'm talking about the matter. You know what I'm talking about.
So, okay, I think. Any other comments before we move on then? Okay, item 5 has an action item to provide for a search committee for the interim general manager and general manager. But upon reading this before I guess turn it over, isn't this all 5 of our jobs explicitly to be searching and providing feedback on the committee? So I don't really think we need a separate committee.
I would agree with that.
Madam Chair, I think we're still on item 4. I'm a little confused as to.
Oh, sorry.
On item 4, we go through the whole evaluation process, and then there's usually an incentive, unless you're all voting to not give me an incentive for last year's accomplishments. So.
Oh, I didn't realize we were also voting on item 4. Okay. So And it's not in the form of a motion, it's just,
You can make it into a form of motion. That's the script that, because I don't know what you're going to vote. So you can make a motion similar to last year.
And there is
Yeah.
a suggested motion in the script that went out, Marlena. I did just
Oh,
resend that to you. in
yeah,
case
with
you
the
didn't
red,
see it.
yellow, yep.
Yeah, thanks.
So the
May I
question
make-
comes down, we've got the motion, but what are there's two blanks in here. So,
So
Do we have a
may I
recomm-
make a mo,
yeah.
may I
please,
make a
Robert?
motion? Ms. Chair?
Yes, please.
There you
And
go.
he
There you
disappeared.
go.
Much for the motion. Come on back, Bob.
Is he in the waiting room, Erica? Not yet?
He'll be back.
Okay, we'll wait another 30 seconds and then maybe someone else could read. Or is he gonna read his own motion, do you think?
Yeah. I suspect he's got some numbers he's got in mind.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest we move on and then come back when Bob returns.
Okay, we could probably pop back in. Okay, so you mean move on from this agenda item entirely? Is that your suggestion? From number 4? There he is.
Oh, here we go.
Ready to go.
Is out again?
Bob, are you back? Does anyone else have a motion to suggest? The salary increase or raise or payout?
Yes, I have a motion. I would like to move that we give Colleen a salary increase of 4% for last year and a 4% bonus for all the things that she has accomplished in the past year.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? I have a question actually about bonus for municipal employees. Is it a standard practice in the municipal industry to pay cash bonuses like in the private sector?
We've done it for many years.
It's actually a merit increase, technically, Marlena.
Thank you. And is that also a cash payment in the form of, like it mentions here in this motion, ICMA, or cash, or combination of the two?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Welcome back, Bob. Bob, we just had a motion from John Stempak
Okay,
to recommend a 4% raise and 4% merit increase. And it was seconded by Phil, and we're opening it up to discussion.
okay. I was going to suggest that 2% and 5,000. That's what I was saying. I apologize for dropping off. My iPad died.
Okay.
Is that now an amendment, or is this all for discussion, or how do we do this now that there's a
I
motion?
was going to ask for a second on, well, we haven't finished discussing John's suggestion yet, but it was seconded, and now we have Bob's also thrown in to discuss, but not seconded yet. I think we could second it and discuss them together.
Is Bob suggesting is moving to amend John's motion, or what is it?
It was his own motion, as I understood it.
The main motion is on the floor is John's.
Okay.
You would only be able to amend the motion. Bob would have to move to amend the motion to the 2% and the $5,000 in order to, to be proper.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Chair,
Yes.
I'm following Phil's advice. I move to amend the motion.
Yep. Okay, do we have a second on the amendment? Okay,
I'll second the amendment,
Okay.
and if I may discuss, I think we've given many, if I may,
Yes.
I think we've really done a lot of very large raises over the last 7 years and thank Colleen for her many years of service for RMLD. We have gone from 165 up to 224. And from the comparison with one outlier, it's right up there at the top handful of salaries statewide, which I'm not saying that's appropriate or inappropriate, but the compensation is at a very high level. And we're talking about somebody who's, you're departing in a few weeks, and this is for a half a year. So I'm more of a mind of a nice cash bonus. But we also have to negotiate with a new incoming general manager at a point where we have a high salary already as a benchmark. So my preference, although we already have motions and seconds, is a bonus at this point. There was a 4% raise a year ago. That it would be more like a $10,000 bonus would be the thank you gift but not an increase in salary. That would be my preference. So
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
this is not for 6 months. This is for all of calendar year 2021. There is nothing on the table for anything that I'm doing this year before I leave. So I have to make that correction.
I understand it's for 2021, not
A
from
half a year.
Oh,
January
okay.
1st,
Then
2022 to June 30th.
I thought you were covered through last year, so that's
No,
I misunderstood.
this is January of 2021. So you don't have the updates of all the GMs that have gotten raises for
Right,
the
but
previous year.
yours as well then would also be the old number on there. So okay, I second Bob's amendment.
Any further discussion? And Dave, are you amending Bob's?
No, I'm fine. I didn't understand.
10,000?
If the salary hasn't changed since the end of 2020, that does change my understanding.
All right.
Is that what's Wendy's raising her hand?
Can I just clarify a little bit here?
Sure.
The salary has changed since 2020. Colleen did get the incentive for 2021 for 2020 performance evaluation. What Colleen's referring to is the 2021 incentive that will take place on 1/1/22. I just want to clarify that.
Oh, well, then okay. So we are just talking about the 6 months of this year. For what this
You're
change
saying
would pertain to this, would pertain from Jan 1 of this year till the
No,
next few weeks.
no. This is an incentive for the calendar year evaluation for 2021.
Yeah, but the salary takes effect, the new salary takes effect as of 4 months ago, not as of 16 months ago.
Correct, but it's
all right.
it's an incentive for the whole previous year, not for this year.
Yeah, all right. My previous comment holds.
Yes, Colleen, I had to correct Dave's statement because he said that you didn't get a raise since 2020. So I had to correct that.
Yeah, you got a raise a year ago, and that applied retroactively to Jan 1, 2021, and applied through, and is still obviously still in effect. So
for 2020.
It's a salary increase that took effect January 1st, 2021. And it is your salary as of now. It's not like you haven't gotten a salary increase since 2020. Since 2020, you got one for 2021. It started on Jan 1, 2021, and that's what we're talking about, is what the salary change would be starting Jan 1 of this year.
Wasn't that the March meeting last year that it was retroactive to January 1st?
Yes, we
2020?
evaluate the goals for 2020. You have to finish 2020. And when you're done with 2020, you present your accomplishments. And then at the beginning of 21, you get a raise for the previous year. So right now look, this technically should be done in January to say thank you for 2021. Okay, inflation, we've got 3 union contracts to do, but this is for 2021 that's handed out in January of the following year for the accomplishments of
When is that?
2021.
Yes, that is correct. So that whatever you decide tonight will be retroactive to January 1, 2022. For her, Colleen's accomplishments for 2021.
Which would be paid out, which is basic an incentive for 2022, your raise for 2022.
No, I don't, Bob, I can't stand by that statement. The incentive is for the accomplishments for 2021, but the raise will take effect 1/1/2022.
Yep, okay, understood.
So
We have an amendment that's been seconded, right? So don't we have to vote on that, and then we vote on the main motion as amended or not amended,
Correct.
right? Is
So-
that right, Phil?
That's correct. It's correct.
Phil, would
That's
you-
Right.
So when Phil reads the motion, will he be reading it as Bob has amended it?
I think first we vote on the amendment.
Right.
First we vote on the amendment.
Right.
Okay. Phil, would you read the motion with the
Uh,
amendment? The amended,
Bob made the motion, so he moved to amend John's motion. So it's
And I
Bob's-
seconded the amendment.
Right.
so
So I asked Bob to repeat his motion just to be clear.
Phil, if I was to revise that at this point, would I have to withdraw?
Yes. If the seconder agrees, you can withdraw the motion. You can withdraw your amendment, your motion.
May I,
yes, Bob.
Mr. Commissioner, may I withdraw the amendment and propose a revised amendment?
Yes.
May I propose 3% and 5,000?
Yes. Is that seconded then? That's amendment to the amendment. I'll second it. Any discussion on 3% and 5,000? Okay, then we'll put it to a vote.
What are we voting on? We didn't get seconded.
His amendment to his amendment is 3% and 5,000 merit increase. My 2 cents, I guess, is that 3% on top of the base salary, as I understand it, carries forward for a lifetime payment. And with energy costs going up so much, I'm concerned from a ratepayer perspective that it is a very high number and something that I need to feel responsible for all 4 towns. It is not a translation of someone didn't perform, or it isn't. I think it isn't about that. It's about the end number. The net is really high, and we're under a lot of scrutiny for how we spend money. I kind of like the 2%, but I guess we're at 3% now.
Marlene, I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with you. I think that I disagree with you because if you look at comparable salaries, which I've done for many years now in this position, and Dave's right. I mean, Colleen is at the high end. She's also managing the largest municipal facility in the state of Massachusetts. And she's done a yeoman job in the entire time that she's been here. So quibbling about something here at the very end of her tenure, I find very disingenuous. I think that we should reward her going out and thank her for all of the work that she's done to transform and change the RMLD into a modern organization, and then bringing in incredibly exceptional people in her staff to carry on beyond where she's been. I think we're just trying to micromanage this, my personal opinion. And I think we just need to reward her appropriately and not quibble about 1%, 2% for what she's done. None of us here could have ever done what she has done. Anybody in this group tonight. And she has done just, as I said, a great job. Let's take care of her. Let's take her, do the right thing and move it forward.
Any other comments?
I mean, my only comment is it's for 6 months of the year, and it eventually goes from ratepayers for decades because it triggers a higher pension, and I'm not comfortable with a large raise at this point, and I consider 3% and 5,000 to be a fairly large raise for 6 months of the year that really carries over for 20 or 30 or more years that comes from taxpayers and ratepayers. So I will be voting against this level of increase.
And I
think the previous
totally disagree with you, Dave. It doesn't make any difference.
I know you do. Don't interrupt me.
The ratepayers are going to be paying anyway. The ratepayers in Northern National Grid and Eversource are going up by 30%.
Direct your comments to the chair.
Anything.
John, it comes to about a difference of, I think, $3,500 a year net salary, where I think when we were proposing before, at least gives the merit increase as practically a cash option now to mediate that amount. Because I think going out 20, 30 years, that is significant. I don't think it's quibbling at all.
Well, I'm
Every
sorry.
percentage matters a lot.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, but I disagree with you because, $3,000 today in 30 years is going to be worth $225. It's not going to be worth what it is today. The time value of money has to be considered in all of this. That's way beyond. I don't even want to go there. That's not the point of this discussion. The point of the discussion, in my mind, is that we will reward someone who's been with us for a long time and give an appropriate reward for moving forward and for setting up an organization that was in total disarray when we started this. Phil knows what I'm talking about. He was there at the time. No one else, I believe, was here at that time. Phil, your comment, please.
Well, I happen to agree with John. Colleen came in, the system was not in good shape when Colleen came in. And she's done a lot to get the system up to date and get it to where it is. So, the idea is to reward her here. I'm in agreement with John's original motion. And if we ever get to vote that, I will, that's how I'll be voting at this point. Colleen's done a good job in terms of what she's done, and she should be rewarded for it, at this point. And that's how I feel.
Yes. So are we just deciding now between 2% and $5,000 merit increase and 3% and a $5,000 merit increase?
Bob withdrew his original motion.
Correct. I crossed it out.
His amendment is 3% and $5,000.
All right, and we have that.
And then if that's voted down, then we go to the main motion, which is John's, which is and I think it was 4%. I can't remember what the other half of that was.
Yeah, I think it was 4%, and someone had mentioned 10,000. I'm certainly willing to modify that to 7,000 bonus.
Okay. Okay,
So now we,
Yep. I don't know where we are right now.
yeah, I know. So
I think you would.
but
put
the modification of the 10,000 to 7,000 applies to your 4%, John?
Well, I think the 4% was the merit increase, correct? And the bonus was, I'm suggesting 7,000. Which the bonus is a 1-year thing.
So you're amending yours from 4% with a $7,000 bonus?
Right.
From earlier you said 4% raise and 4% bonus, which
Right,
Colleen
but
redefined as merit
4%
increase.
bonus was, yeah, that's on top of that. So I'm amending that to be 7,000.
Okay, so now how do we vote on this?
okay, so you got to take the amendment first. Bob's amendment, which is the 3% and the $5,000. That should be the first vote. If that vote carries through, then that becomes the main motion. If Bob's amendment is not voted, is not approved, then John's motion of the 7% and the $7,000 bonus is the main motion at that point.
The 4% and
4%,
7,000.
yeah.
4%. Okay,
Okay, so let's vote on Bob's. Correct?
right, yep, you got it.
Which is 3% raise and a $5,000 merit increase.
Ms.
All those in favor?
Ms. Pacino, no?
Mr. Stempak, no.
Mr. Coulter, yes.
Mr. Talbot, no, and I hope we go no on the main motion too, and we can start over.
And I vote no. I think we're not done.
We go to the main motion.
We go to the main motion.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Ms. Pacino, aye?
Mr. Stempak, aye.
Talbot,
And all
no.
those opposed?
No.
No.
Ida, no.
I'll make a motion. Which
Okay.
splits the difference between where Bob was originally and where we just rejected is 2.5% and 5,000.
I'd like to amend that motion.
Dave.
Well, you just second on it.
Well, hold on, just for math
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
If you meant to split the difference, it would be
It was between your-
3.5.
No, but it was between the split difference between your first amendment and your second amendment.
Oh,
Because I like the sound of a 2% for half a year, plus a $5,000 bonus, which I don't know if other light plants get those, but so my motion is higher than I would have thought going into the meeting, but based on the discussion, 2.5% for 6 months of work and then a 30 years of pension, which will apply to that. And because everybody seems to want also to give $5,000, 2.5% and $5,000.
Do we have a
Where I
second?
was- Yeah.
Can I amend my motion then?
You don't have a motion anymore. I mean, you can amend my motion, but your motion went down.
I'd like to suggest to amend Dave's motion because, between 3 and 4%, the difference is 3.5%, not 2%. So I would like to suggest 3.5%, and then between 5,000 and 7,000, the difference is 6,000. So for the bonus. So I would like to suggest that.
That's 3.5 and 6,000?
Yeah, 3, yes, that's correct. 3.5 and 6.
So now we vote first on Dave's amendment or,
You vote first on John's amendment.
John's
John's amendment should be voted first.
okay.
'Cause
All those in
Dave did the
favor
main
of
motion.
John's amendment?
Mr. Stempak, aye.
Mr. Pacino, aye?
Mr. Coulter, aye.
Marlena Beta, no.
Talbot, no.
And Bob, that was a yes.
That was a yes.
Okay, so that carries.
That's the main motion. Now you got to
Me
you got to
too.
vote the main motion now. Because that was in the amendment. So you need to vote again at this point to approve the main motion. So
I don't think anybody ever seconded John's amendment.
I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
We-
It's too late. We already voted on it. I think this is all.
I don't think anybody seconded your motion, Dave.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we
but-
didn't. We didn't.
Did we?
I don't think
Okay.
we did.
Sorry, all of you, general manager prospects out there.
Hmm.
You know, this is like really awkward. You know, it's like we're talking about a top salary in the state and we just try to do 3% and 5,000 and everybody thinks that's horrible. It's like we've kind of lost our way here. I'd like to just make a motion, go back to Bob's amendment, 3% and $5,000, and let's move on. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Mr. Talbot, aye.
Marlene Amita, aye.
Heck, no.
Ms. Pacino, aye. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Carries 4-1.
Can I make a suggestion in the future that we have a recommendation from the chair as to what these numbers should be? This is how we've kind of done it in the past. We've had a recommendation instead of trying to struggle here with what's good, what's bad, you know? The chair
And it
should
should
have
be
come
on
forward-
January.
The chair should have come forward with a recommendation. And I'm not even talking the present chair, I'm talking the past chair. I'm sorry, Bob, but you know, you
No.
deserve some criticism here.
No, you know, point, and I guess, you know, when we were talking, I thought we were just reviewing goals. I didn't think we were reviewing money. And you're right, I should have put forward money, and I think we need to put a hard date of January meeting for a raise, period.
Exactly.
End of story. Dragging it out, wait, it has to be in January, every single January. So, no matter what. And I do think,
Move on.
you know, move on, let's move.
All right.
3%, it's,
5,000.
okay, that's it, 3 and 5.
And it will be her choice of cash or the ICMA or combination. Okay, item 5 is that says the interim general manager and general manager search committee. It's an action item.
Okay, you ready for the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Move the Board of Commissioners finalize GM interview questions and conduct interviews in open session for the interim general manager's position by May 1st, 2022. Meeting date to be determined.
So if that's to be, well, okay, I'll second the motion.
Well, we're gonna discussion?
And now open it to discussion. If I could say first, that if it's supposed to be by May 1st, we have 2 weeks to work on this.
Yeah, just on a personal basis, I have a difficulty with doing anything before May 1st because of some health issues in the family. So I would not be able to participate until after May 1st. I'm sorry.
I move that we
Okay, well,
move the date to, John, when can you?
Anytime after May 1st, I'll be coming back to Boston on May 1st. So, you know, May 2nd forward, anytime you'd like to do it, I'd be happy to participate.
So why don't we just strike in the motion after the word gentlemen, by May 1st, 2022, meeting date to be determined. I think that kind of covers everything
Sure.
in that case. Okay? You agree with that, Madam Chair?
yes,
Okay. All right.
all right. Could you read the next motion then?
You're going to vote on that?
Oh, sorry, I thought we were in agreement. Okay. So all those in favor?
Ms. Pacino,
Mr.
aye?
Stempak, aye.
And I seconded it, correct? I seconded it, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
All right.
Marlene Amita, aye.
Filter right.
This next one, Phil, would you read it? And then we'll second it and then we'll have discussion.
Okay, move that the Board of Commissioners appoint a GM search committee for the consideration of applicants and interviews for the GM position.
That isn't the way it's, oh, is there an updated one? Mine says appoint a preliminary screening committee. Maybe you have an updated one.
That's what's in the script from what I'm reading.
Okay. Do we have a second on that motion?
Just
And then discussion?
Second motion.
Thank you.
I guess somebody made the comment of like, this is like our biggest job is like selecting a new manager. So if this means a couple of us are in a subcommittee doing this, it seems like this is like the most important thing we'll do in 10 years, so that we shouldn't have a subcommittee. It should be the full board.
Right, but
You know,
Madam Chairman, can I speak?
Sure.
Having headed this the last time that brought in Colleen, basically this committee is kind of the screening committee. You know, you're going to have hopefully we have many applicants and really qualified applicants, I hope too, including maybe some that come from in-house, I would hope. And so basically this subcommittee has met in off-site and actually done the screening, the screening, and then the recommended choices to the board at that point. Recommended choices to the board, and the board interviews those people and makes the final decision. So it's more of a screening committee at this point as it is to a final decision as to where it was done the last time. And
So you're saying a subset of us, like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but less than 5 of us would be a screening
we did
committee?
hire an outside professional the last time to help us too on this. So I would assume we would probably do the same thing. I would hope we do the same thing this time around. So
I just think all 5 of us should participate who's available, not have a subcommittee. That this is,
Ms. Chairman, could I make a comment, please?
yes.
One, I agree with you. I think everybody should participate. And that what Phil's referring to the last time is that we did hire a professional, but only after we submitted the criteria in the local papers, which is what everyone does, and no one applied because everybody in the entire industry knows that you hire from within. And when no one got hired from within, then we hired a professional to solicit people. And that's when we received many different people from other immunity operations across the state, because then they knew that we were serious. So I think it behooves us to all of us be part of this at all times. It was a very time intensive episode. If Phil would care to comment on that, in terms of trying to find the next manager, 10 years ago, because there were no qualified people internally. That's not true today. I don't believe personally, but it was part of the process at that time. So I just wanted to say that I do agree with you. I think all 5 commissioners should participate.
Okay. Yeah, just to comment on the time period. We basically did the original interviews during the day. We actually went off site and did the interviews during the day, during the period of time. So it wasn't like we, brought them in at night. We brought them in during the day. And it does
Okay,
take,
well,
I
that's good
can
to
tell
know.
you that we the first time around, we failed. We failed. We tried to do it all ourselves and we absolutely failed. And then John was kind enough to step in and head the process in the second time around. And we were very successful at that point.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm not sure if this is the time to bring it up then, but yes, I think we should definitely hire an outside consulting service for an executive search. And that too would have to be chosen around May 1st. Well, or later. I guess it could take longer to interview executive search committees.
Madam Chair.
Consultants. John, how long? Oh, yeah, Bob.
Again, if we're talking, we need to define 2 different things here, interim, then final. And if we're talking about interim, I think we're having a different discussion because we already know that there's interim candidates, and do we explore off-site candidates for the interim? I think that's the should be the focus of this action item. Do we set up our interviews for the internal candidates and then make a decision? Right? We're talking about moving, I think we're leaping over an interim. We're talking about final here. I think we want to focus this back on the
You're
interim.
right. So where do we stand
Well,
then
i-
on?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, at the time when we were searching before, the present general manager had left without basically leaving us much, to be honest. So we were struggling to, find someone internally and soliciting, and so there's a real time frame problem with the whole thing. I agree with Bob that if you're looking for the best talent you can possibly find, then you hire a professional and you let the professional solicit both internal and external people and see what comes of it. So you have a total pool of candidates that you can walk through. Phil was absolutely right. This took time away from your day. If you're working during the day, you have to get away from your job to come out for hours at a time and interview people because they're not going to necessarily come in at night. So it's a bit intensive and rightly so, I think, to try and find the right caliber person to head this organization.
Thank you.
Yep,
Yes, Bob.
I know Zoom has made it better. You don't have to drive anywhere, right? So that is a reality, right? And you can interview online. So
Yeah.
the world did change 2 years ago.
Well, where does that leave us then on this motion about a screening committee for interviews for the GM position?
I
Phil?
think, do we define, do we change this and do we say we leave it to the in-house candidates? We decide if we want to keep it with the in-house candidates for the interim general manager and interview those in-house candidates and do that, make our questions, perform those interviews and move forward with an interim post immediately.
If I can make a comment on that and add to what Bob has just said, I think that's a
Yes.
great idea. I think that having an interim is exactly that. The interim could become the full-time
Right.
manager as well. And in the process of, the interim taking over, who's learned from Colleen over these many years, and keeping things on track while we're doing a search, I think it's totally possible that the person who's the interim becomes the general manager, or if there's someone else who rises from the outside search, that's fine too, and we will vote on it at the appropriate time. But I think Bob's correct. We need to have someone from the inside take over the reins while we're doing the search process, because the search process could take anywhere from, I don't know, a month to 3 months. It took us a long time the last time to try and find
It
someone.
could take even longer than that, right?
Absolutely, good.
So I agree with both John and Bob about let's stick to our knitting and let's get the interim manager settled, and maybe we don't need to decide tonight exactly what the shape and form of the long-term manager search process looks like. It should be a public, open process, and I hear Phil about screening 2 offsite with 2 commissioners, but also part of me wants it to be a little more open than that if it can be. I don't know, maybe that's infeasible, but I'm just not sure tonight whether that committee is the right way to pick the long-term manager.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I'd rather just have a meeting where we're just focusing on that process for the final, whatever not the GM after
Final
the
interim?
yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
maybe we set 3 hours up for the 3 candidates. Maybe we can do that as soon as possible.
Sure.
And and if we can, I don't know how we could put questions together because we're gonna have to ask the same questions. I don't know if there's a canned,
So 3 consecutive hours, 1 for each candidate. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
And then if there's a canned RMLD interview sheet, maybe that's the right one to use. I don't know. I have one, but it's it's very generic, but there's a lot of questions. I'm sure this will be public forum, so.
So we need to schedule a dedicated meeting to plan how those 3 hours are going to be run and then execute them. Right, first, we should first make it so that all 5 of us and anyone else, Erica, who needs to know, knows exactly how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I think potentially invite Janet, and then because again, LD has a canned interview sheet that they ask everybody. And then we talk about it for an hour, and then I think another thing we need to discuss tonight is, do we include anybody else from the cab and from the PM, someone from the town as well, who might be interested, do we want that along with the commissioners?
And Fidel or Vivek, your hand is raised.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to understand what process, how would you see the cab involved in this process? So that when I go, I can take the message back to the cab.
If I could pick off what I think you were saying, Bob, and what was mentioned earlier, is and somewhere in this agenda, it's mentioned cab will need to appoint a representative, at least one representative from the cab.
Yeah, no, but I just wanted to understand, is it for just the final process or is it for the interim also?
I don't, it could be either. Why not both?
Yeah.
It should be both.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll just take that back. So thank you. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, the
Mr.
last
Chair, if I
time-
could, I agree. I think we should definitely have someone from the cab sit in to help with the process. I would disagree having someone from the town sit on the process. And my rationale for that is that we've struggled over many years here in many different instances trying to separate what I'll call church and state. And that's the fact that we're a separate organization from the town. Obviously, we're tied together with the town in many different ways, but the intent is to have the RMLD run its operations, its franchise, as perfectly as possible to do the right thing for all 4 communities and not just for Reading. And so that's the only reason I have pushback on including somebody from the town. And my other pushback is, the bigger your committee gets, the more difficult it is to reach a decision. I've seen that 1,000 times in my corporate career. And so just a thought.
That's always true. Too many cooks in the kitchen, of course. And to your point, though, that keeping RMLD separate is important. It's the intent and it works. I do think that there's a lot that is often said, well, that's how we've always done it, by not including town hall. And that doesn't mean that it's okay. And by including them means they could be a participatory listener, not necessarily a leader of the committee, just so that they're involved. And we have a new town manager.
I completely agree with you. I mean, they can certainly be a listener, but you have not been involved here in the past when the town, literally certain individuals in the town wanted to raid our coffers for the town's purposes. And we had to fight back. And that was the whole reason we even wrote the white paper that everybody here is familiar with. And the reason of that was just to say, we are separate and we need to remain separate in many ways and tied together in other ways, obviously. But so I want to make sure that we're cognizant of that. That's all.
Yeah, and with that, the cab is the way that any of the 4 towns formally are involved in what we do. It's the cab. That's the mechanism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for those. Okay. I think the theme of the night still, though, is, so where does that leave us? Do we continue to just skip the motion where we're appointing a preliminary screening committee because we're all going to be on it. And
Can I
the only
add
question
something,
now
Madam?
is, yeah, who else are we adding? Yes, Erica.
So I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but Janet sent out a memo from Chris regarding kind of just how things can be run. And just to clarify, with the screening committee, that would have only been done if you did not want to hold it publicly, and it can't be a quorum, so it would have only been 2 board members and it had to be 1 cab. However, if you all want to be part of it, then it will have to be held publicly anyway. So we'd have to, have an open session and invite the town, et cetera, on that, and then it can be held in open session.
Thank you,
So
Erica.
if you guys want to take a peek at that, and then it might be a little helpful.
I did. And Phil, did you have a comment?
Yeah, my comment is, what, Erica just reminded me, that's got to be a public meeting. I'm not sure if you're a candidate, you're working for some other utility, whether you're gonna want to come to a public meeting for a job you're not sure you're going to get.
That's right.
Ms. Chairman,
So I
you're
think that
Phil's
reminded me
absolutely
why we
right.
had the screening committee. Yeah. Yeah.
So
If any of you had to leave your jobs and go public,
Yeah, that's true.
while you're
I
still
hadn't thought of
working,
that.
wouldn't look good.
Yes, Bob.
if Janet, why don't you guide us on that, right? If you could.
Absolutely. All applications are received in confidence, which means nothing, all the applicants remain confidential to the board only. And only the finalists choose to go public. If you choose the finalists, you say that the final interviewing process will be held in public, and they decide whether they want to withdraw or participate through the public process. And that would be explained to them right up front, so they're not wasting anyone's time.
Is that specifically for, that's not for the interim, correct? That is for.
That's correct.
So we're talking final at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
For the interim, I didn't see any issue with the public forum.
For the interim, I'm pretty sure the motion we just voted on did say open session.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think those had to be,
Because
they are
because RMLD is their employer, so they're not risking their job.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bob. And thank you, Madam Chair.
So with that in mind, it sounds like we do need the screening committee.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So let me suggest this, Madam Chair. Let me suggest this.
Sure.
Maybe you and I discuss the process, and then we come back at the next meeting with a recommendation of the process, or at least probably, since we're probably going to meet early in May, maybe we have a recommendation at that point for what the process should be going forward. We meet with Janet and come up with a process as to how to go forward and make a recommendation back to the commission at that point.
Okay, who wants to meet with Janet? I will.
Again,
Bob?
Madam
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Phil, do you mean, again, when we're talking, are we talking about interim, or are we talking about?
Well, the interim, it sounds like we're going to interview the individuals who are,
Yes.
who applied, who have put their names forward at this point. So I would assume that we're talking more the process of the final after that, after the interim.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Okay.
so we're clear on those 2 separate things, interim and final. Okay. Are we reading then? Board of Commissioners appoint so-and-so general manager search committee. Are we going to move on to that?
Yeah, no, we're not. No, I think that's, we're going to
And
determine
good.
that process. And when we
Perfect.
have the interim, my suggestion is that when we have the interim the meeting with the potentially interim GMs, we present a process to them at that point, to the rest of the commission. Okay?
Yes. Well, then that brings us to 6, the general manager's report.
Okay.
I just have a quick question though. So was there a motion? So did number 5, the first motion, is it by a certain date or are we determining a date? Did the motion get, Erica, did that motion get,
Yeah, it's,
So the motion was read, but we scratched out by May 1st, so scheduling conflicts to do those interviews. So we
But
do
we-
need to decide on a date.
I think we need to decide on a date so that we can formalize that motion.
Okay. And
So I think John said he was available after May 1st.
well, how about Monday, May 2nd? And John, I understand if it's difficult to know for sure, I mean, it'd be a hard date for you, but could we try for Monday, May 2nd?
Let me take a look.
the only,
Okay.
Madam Chair, the only problem you may run into is that may be a town meeting night. It's a possibility of that being a town meeting night, so, and with which we cannot conflict.
And if
Yeah,
it
probably
is
not.
town meeting night, will it be 7 or 7:30? Won't it be 7:30 because it's only 7?
7:30, yeah.
So maybe we could do a 6 o'clock?
Would you want?
I know it's tight, I know.
I think that's enough time to interview.
I
the
just know
candidate?
that Monday nights are the best nights for meetings because
Yeah.
the least amount of meetings are scheduled for Mondays.
I'm looking at the,
And I hate to make the interim people wait and wait and wait.
Yeah.
And you said you want to do this 3 consecutive hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
What about what if we did like early in the morning? Would that
Oh,
be?
come on. I'm not a morning person, I'm sorry.
Could you guys do like 4 o'clock in the afternoon? 3? Is it just too difficult to say?
Just a comment. I am on a flight at 11:30 from Cincinnati back to Boston, so I won't arrive on. It's actually the 2nd that I arrive on in the afternoon, so I wouldn't arrive until about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
On the 2nd?
On the 2nd.
Okay.
Can we do the 3rd? What is it, the Tuesday?
3rd is fine with me.
Yeah.
The 3rd is fine.
I see town meeting on May 2nd.
Potentially.
Yeah, tentative. Hopefully don't need it.
Yeah.
But on
This
the,
might be our first chance to return in person. Is that conference room available?
So yes, we could do it in the AV room, and we could do it in person. We just wouldn't be, RCTV would be streaming it. And I believe we would have to, if we had any presentation materials, would have to be on the projector, but IT assured me that we could make it work if we wanted to be back in person.
Any objections to doing it in person on Tuesday, May 3rd?
no. John, who could do, say, 5:30 start? Is that too early?
5:30 is fine with me.
That's fine.
Do 5:30 to 6:30, 6:30 to 7:30. Maybe, or maybe a 10, well, it all depends on how long they go. You could have a 10-minute break in between. Because I don't want anybody to be sitting for 2 hours. We'll figure out an order.
Mhm. Anyone else have comments on that? Okay, so that, to Colleen's point, firms up that first motion out of agenda item number 5. Tuesday, May 3rd, 5:30 to 8:30 on Ash Street. can we continue on to the general manager's report? Please.
So the municipal, the meme meeting, annual meeting on May 19th and 20th, we have a motion for both myself to attend as well as voting on a representative from the board to attend.
Okay, I had thrown my hat in the ring that I could and would like to attend. Could it be more than one of us who attend, or is it only one? Like if Phil wanted to go?
That's up to the board. You can have more than one.
Okay. Phil, are you saying you'd like to go? I think he's not listening.
Yeah, he's on mute.
Yeah.
I think he's talking to someone.
All right, you ready for the motion? Okay,
Well-
sorry. Somebody came in my office and had a question.
Sure, we were talking about the me meeting.
Yeah, move that the board approve Ms. O'Brien's travel to and attendance at the mean annual managers meeting to take place from May 19th and 20th, 2022 in Plymouth, Mass.
Second,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I think if any board member wants to attend, they should be able to attend. And
that's what I thought, but I didn't know
yeah,
if it could only be
I don't
one.
think you should have a limit. Phil, I think you missed. Did you want to go to that meeting?
No, I can't. I'm not available. I'm not available.
Okay. I second for the general manager to attend and vote aye.
Ms. Pacino, aye?
Talbot, aye.
Mr. Stempak, aye.
Mr. Coulter, aye.
Okay, Phil, would you read the next motion, please?
Okay, so who's going to try to fill in I need to fill in the blanks.
I think
Who's
I'm the only
going?
one who's interested.
What?
I think I'm the only one who's interested.
Okay, well, let's see. Let me do it generally. Move that the board approve any commissioner who wishes to attend and travel to and attend and attendance at the meme annual managers meeting to take place from May 19th and 20th, 2020 in Plymouth, Mass.
Second. Okay, I'll go.
Ms. Pacino, aye?
Mr. Stempak, aye.
Talbot, aye.
Coulter, aye.
Okay.
Okay, I just have another couple of quick things. The high school art contest, thank you for voting. The awards are May 12th at 7:30, and I'm looking for 2 board volunteers to help me present those. It is virtual. So that's for the high school contest, and we pick, they're selected for the front cover of our annual report for 2021.
I can't attend.
Well, we can have Erica can ask around again and see who's available, and if not, we can extend the invitation to the CAB members. I'm happy to do it myself.
When is the date on that again? I missed it.
It's May 12th at 7:30.
I can
Look at
attend.
my calendar.
Okay, well, thank you.
Just Erica, if you could please send out an invite.
I believe I'm
Twice,
available. I
3 times.
believe I can attend. Yeah, so, okay.
Great, thank you.
Sarah's got to send me a reminder too.
Yeah.
Okay.
The RMLD is hosting the bike adoption with the town of Reading and the Climate Action Committee. That's they drop off the bikes on Friday, April 29th, and then the kids come in and adopt the bikes on Saturday, April 30th. So there's more information with the town, but just wanted to let you know that'll be out front. We've been hosting that for quite a while. And future board meetings, I know we're going to talk about the schedule at the end. I just wanted to mention that we do have a little bit of an issue with supply chain on the IT equipment that's going in the AV room and the conference rooms for training and in order to allow hybrids. But the RCTV equipment is back in the AV room. There's new carpet, it's been painted. It's all ready to go. We'll just have to revert back to what it was before until we can get the IT equipment in. Just about everything, people, staff, labor, everybody's on back order here. So if you want to have the May meeting in the AV room, it's all the Board of Health, everything's lifted. So I'm not sure if that's how you want to proceed, but that's available.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I have.
I mean, the in-person, I mean, I like having the option of Zoom, but every other committee seems to be meeting in person most of the time since 7 or 8 months ago. So we probably should too. And also I think it encourages public comment. I think a few people, residents, have said they would come if it were in person. So I don't want to discourage that any longer. Any thoughts?
My only thought is that COVID's not over yet and it's still contagious. And so perhaps we could have, is there any way to do an option of Zoom plus in person?
That's the IT equipment that's on back order. We have had each of the conference rooms designed and we're just waiting for the equipment. So could be a couple of months out. We're still waiting.
Okay. No, so I think in general, for most people, it's absolutely fine. I mean, we all know people who've gotten COVID, not just once, but maybe even twice. But for older people, it's not the same. There's a real age discrimination by the virus, unfortunately. So I'm still in favor of doing Zoom, but I'll certainly try to meet in person if we need to. I would like to ask everybody to wear masks if we're going to meet in person. So otherwise, I'm fine with it.
I think we have a policy that remote attendance is okay. Before the pandemic, it was in place. So I think that's should be covered already. And I think to John's point, maybe what needs to happen is that where it used to be, we would call in and there'd be a voice in those situations, that it needs to be, how do we do it that it can be more like this?
Like an old-fashioned conference call?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I guess, but I'm just saying to John that I think it's been okay even before the pandemic to participate remotely if you need to or want to.
Yep. And I mean, I agree with both of you that in the future, that's what it will be. Colleen's just saying it's just a matter of time till all that technology's ready.
We can set up a laptop so that you can see someone small. We're just not going to have the big.
Okay.
There's not going to be a direct feed into a hybrid system by RCTV, and we're not going to have a big screen like the town of Reading has that you can see all the remote people coming in. But we certainly can have a Zoom video of commissioners calling in.
John can't have my seat on the up front with the laptop. He has to sit on the main.
I'm fine with that, Bob. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, right.
Okay, does that cover then future board meeting schedule and format?
Not the scheduling, but just the discussion on the IT equipment and stuff. I think Erica is going to talk about the scheduling at the end.
Yeah, okay. Erica, do you want to speak on that now?
Sure. So basically a couple things, and the first one was the audit committee meeting, and I have been in touch with the audit committee that will be meeting with us potentially May 23rd or 25th. I'm just confirming a date and time. So what I foresee happening is the audit committee will come here, they'll meet at 6 p.m. and then we'll meet a joint meeting with the CAB if the CAB's chair approves that, and they'll do the audit presentation. So this way the auditor only has to come one time, and he'll do the audit committee and then he'll do board and CAB together.
I'm sorry, you said the May 23rd?
Or 25th. I'm just trying to solidify with them the date, but one of those days at 6 p.m. as of now.
Okay, anything else, Erica?
Yep, and then I did reach out again to Karen Herrick to just work on getting that joint meeting about economic development going. So Marlena, I can circle with you on that too, and just scheduling and when we can do that. Likely in May, as Karen mentioned, she's been traveling, so she had to call in, and we can figure out a good date that works for everyone. And then my final note was, it seems like the other boards, like select boards, et cetera, in town tend to post all of their meetings for like the year ahead of time, and they don't post them, but they have a document that says like anticipated meetings. I don't know if that's something we want to consider doing. Like, I think before it was every Thursday at 7 for each month. And then if we needed to change it, that was fine. But this way we, at least for the year, have tentative dates we can block off and let people know.
I think that's a good idea, but what does the rest of the board think?
It's a great idea if we can plan out our meetings and let people know when they're going to be and that the calendar is
No
accurate.
issue.
Yeah,
No
I have
issue.
no problem with it.
And the word tentative, it makes it, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Madam
We should-
Chair, if I could just,
Yeah, Colleen.
so Erica, just back on the tentative of the 23rd or 25th, I think what we were trying to ask is whether or not we would have the board meeting after the audit meeting, correct? So,
Yes, board combine cab after, if that works for everyone.
right, so as soon as you find out from the audit committee which date, then we're gonna send a note to the board and the cab saying joint meeting after. Because usually the auditor will present to the audit committee and then it gets sent over to the board for a vote. So last year we did it tandem and it worked really well. And we did it joint with the cab. So even though the cab's not voting on the audit, it just makes for a good meeting. Everybody's on the same page.
Okay, now we're moving on to number 7 on the agenda. Procurement requests, Mr. Jafari.
Yes, good evening, and thank you, excuse me, for the opportunity. We had a bid last time, the IFB 2022-01, the trouble truck with the trade-in, that the board asked me to go back and check in for the trade-in. Let me go over the fact. For this proposal, James Kiley Company was the lowest responsive proposer at the cost of $252,419. That includes also the warranties of $3,737, and that's major parts that they basically did a warranty for 5 years, and also the trade-in value of $4,500. So that totals $8,237 value. The bid was sent to 16 companies, and these 16 companies, they're all basically they're in the business of retrofitting and also building the new trucks per specifications. And the most reputable ones are Alltech and James Kiley, which they actually were responded to the bill. Now, Alltech took many exceptions, and they offered $7,000 for the trade-in, but they did not guarantee that $7,000. They said that could change, so it's not fixed. That's what we found out, and the price was much higher. So overall, and also the delivery time with the lead time, their lead time was 3.5 years, while James Kiley was 1 to 1.5 years. And another point that I like to make is that, these prices codes are good for 90 days, already, 60 days passed. So if we don't award the bid within the next 30 days, these prices that are already gone up, it's going to go further up, and it's going to, the delivery and lead time for the delivery is going to be much longer than 1.5 years. Because everybody usually through the industry, they place their order the first quarter of year, and now we are almost getting into the second quarter, so there are no guarantees that we're going to get the truck, to be honest with you, realistically for 2 years. Now, what it means to us, what it means that the truck is going to have to be maintained for almost spending $6,500 a year. That's almost $13,000 we're gonna have to, because the truck is gonna have to be in operation until we get the new truck, and then we retire this one, or we sell that either in the auction or whatever means if that we decide to do. So that means $13,000 more expenses that we're gonna have to do. And I had our staff to do extensive research, to spend hours on the websites and auction sites trying to get a clue about the compatible truck, to see how much we can get, what is the value of that in the secondary market. And unfortunately, they couldn't find anything that is meets the spec. So I took that upon myself to do independent verification, and I spent hours too. And I found two companies, one in Texas and one in California, that they are in the business of basically getting these trucks, refurbishing them, and spend money whatever it needed, because they're gonna have to give warranties to those trucks for 2 years. And they both asked me about the condition there without seeing it, and I told them basically what the condition is. They were concerned about the rust, and this truck has major rust underneath in the undercarriage of the truck, also to the body. So one of them immediately says we are not interested, because the trucks that we sell back in the secondary market, it's got to be flawless, basically. Everything, we go through everything, all the major parts, replacements, and here, there, and we got to spend $30,000, $40,000 on a truck in order to get it ready, so we can, introduce that into the secondary market, or present it in the secondary market. So they couldn't really give us the hard number, but I had to really push one, to give me, best guess estimate how much would they. He said the best one that they could give, they gave the range of 5,000 to 15,000. Now, he said that, 15,000, the truck is going to be really in good shape, meaning that, well, I don't have to spend much money to the body, to the, but, closer to 5,000 is the one that, well, it's rust. One of the major expenses, it comes to the undercarriage of the truck, and also the frame, and how deep the rust has penetrated. And that's why they're gonna have to see that, and they're gonna have to see that how much is worth to them. So one immediately said no. So the question becomes why Kylie and Alltech, they're interested in that type of truck. The reason is because they're major manufacturer of these trucks. They get parts from all different vendors and all different manufacturers, and they put them together, assemble them in the factory, and they have all of these parts that they buy in bulk. So maybe it's going to cost them less money than average company to refurbish them and to put them back in the secondary market. So maybe that's worth to them a lot to do that. But all in all, I think we're getting a good value for that. I think if we go out, so we have, at this point, we have two options. One option is just to cancel the bid and separate these two and tell the companies to give us the bidding price, which from what I'm hearing, it's going to be much higher than what they told us, they quoted us. And then we can send the cars, and the trucks to auctions and see what it brings. There are no guarantees that how much it's going to bring. And we had that experience back in 2013, 2014 for the bucket trucks, not trouble trucks, because this one is trouble truck, which much higher mileage, almost 155,000 mileage, and 13,500 hours of engine, which that was another negative point that, these guys, they said, even one of them said, I'm not interested in that. So with this truck, we're taking chances. Yeah, could we get probably a little bit more? Yeah, but we are taking really the risk of longer delivery and also higher prices if we cancel this bid and we decide, because this whole package, it goes together, trade-in and the new truck. Back in 2013, 2014, that we went the last time we sent it to the auction, it went for $7,000. But from what I gathered is that, the trucks were much in much better shape and with a lower mileage. So that's in a nutshell, this is what we're dealing with. So my recommendation is go with the, with the lowest bidder, Mr. Kiley or James Kiley's company, because, the longer we wait, that means the lead time, it's going to be further and further out. That means more maintenance that we're going to have to do to keep the truck running until we get the new one. And the other factor to that is that, it's from what I'm hearing in the condition that it is, we could barely make probably another inspection. So having said all of those factors, so I think it would be, it is wise to go with the offer that, James P. Kiley gave for $252,419. But it is your decision. Whatever the board feels comfortable, we got to follow your instructions, obviously. Any questions?
Yes, Hamid, if
Yes.
I could. First, I thank you very much for a very detailed presentation. I think it's great. I certainly support going for the new truck. I'm sort of surprised that trucks don't last very long. I mean, with all the rust that's going on.
Right.
I mean, if you look at new cars, they last for 10, 15
Right.
years. They're rust proof, right? Since the old days.
Right. Yeah.
What is it about trucks that they don't like take care of the undercarriage or coat them or, whatever they need to do to keep it going? And the second piece is there any liability associated with the truck if the rust breaks through while it's in operation?
Well, obviously, they are if they're not maintained. That's why we try to turn over the fleets every 10 years because, that's the industry standard practice. So we need to make sure that, the truck is operational and is safe to drive. Now, depending on how deep, again, the rust has penetrated, and on this one, it's hard to tell. But apparently these two companies, they both did the analysis on it, and that's what they determined that, they need to do major spending probably to take care of that issue. So, and your first question about, what causes this? Well, the salt on the road, and, these trucks, remember, there are two factors to them. One is the the mileage, and the other one that really is killing the engine and pretty much it's wearing it down. It's the hours, number of hours that, the engine is running. The engine is in idle. Whenever they use the bucket truck, they go up and down. They use that, the engine is running. So that's probably that engine is at the end of its useful time, especially the trouble truck that is being used all the times. That's the first truck going out whenever there's trouble. So basically those two components together is what's determining that, how long the truck lasts. And, and we are in the environment that, the truck, they rust. And nowadays, the quality is much better. The quality of steel is better. The quality of the trucks and, anti-rust products and everything they use in order to make them last longer. But even if the rust is not an issue, again, you go back to the engine that is running in the idle, which basically, and that's the half of the price of the truck goes for the engine, the other half for all the bells and whistles and the frame and the chassis and everything else. So almost, you get your value over 10 years based on, the maintenance, the lower maintenance, and that, you need to do in order to get the trucks operational. But after 10 years, that maintenance cost keeps going up. And it's not really worth to go through those expenses. It definitely, it's a good idea to turn them over to the secondary market, the people who that's their business, and they can turn around and fix whatever part they need. They're taking a risk too, because the chassis, if they need to replace the chassis, that's big money. You're talking about probably $70,000-$80,000 just to for the chassis itself.
Great, thank you very much, Hamid. Yep.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions?
No, thank you. Are we ready to read? Did we read the motion and vote?
Yep. move the proposal IFP 2022-1 for one trouble truck with trade-in to be awarded to James A. Kiley Company for $252,419 pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 164, Paragraph 56D, on the recommendation of General Manager.
Second.
All those in favor?
Mr. Pacino, aye?
How would I?
Dembeck, aye.
Filter,
Marlena, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I meant to ask, was there any further discussion, but I think we
We had it.
did that. Okay, that brings us to 8 and future scheduling. So the next tentative date is Monday, May 23rd at 7, following the audit committee at 6.
Fine
Should we
me.
go with that?
No problem, no problem with mine.
And I'll confirm once I hear back from the audit committee.
Sure, because you said maybe the 25th, but
Yeah.
okay, so it's still tentative that it's the 23rd. If they say that it's the 25th to Erica, just so she knows now, does that look available to people?
I think I might have a conflict on the 25th. Let me just check.
Would we have a quorum? Otherwise, so could 4 other people make it? I
Yeah,
could.
I have a conflict on the 25th. Sorry.
Thank you, John. Okay. Okay, but then tentative for the 25th also, Erica, because we'd have a quorum. If that's what they come back with.
I'll let you know
So-
as soon as I know.
Right, so the future cab coverage for May is me. Accounts payable is Mr. Coulter, and payroll is Mr. Pacino. The next item is whether or not to move into executive session. And
There's nothing on our end, just to
Yeah.
let
Right.
you know.
right, it's just on the agenda. So, okay, I guess we're not going to do that.
Yeah, so I'll, Madam Chair, move the Board of Commissioners adjourn the regular session.
Second. All those in
Step
favor
back,
of
aye.
adjourning?
Pacino, aye?
filter, aye.
Aye.
How would I?
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Congratulations, Marlena.
Thanks, congratulations to Phil.
Congratulations to both commissioners and you, Molina.
Thanks, everybody, and sorry for
night.
the,
Thank you.
sorry for the awkward conversation.
Yeah.
you.
Great, congrats. Bye.